Now we're now this new segment which we call Sam Explains Particle Physics on 5 shots of whiskey.
Well, here we go. Why do you think I'm drinking whiskey in the first place? I knew I'd have to explain this. Perpetuating doom. So, yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple, actually, with this. Muons are like a counterpart, like a sister particle to an electron. They're slightly heavier electrons. And electrons behave in a very predictable way when you thread them through like a magnetic field. They wobble in a very, very predictable way. And what they found is actually that muons, which only last like 2 billionths of a second or something like that, there's probably some number in here somewhere, they last a very short amount of time, but it's long enough to obviously put them through some sort of magnetic field, and it didn't wobble. And this is something that's, so predictable that, it's just a predictable thing to happen. That they actually believe that there's something strange happening here, some invisible force. They've predicted potentially having something to do with dark matter or dark energy. I forget which one. 5 whiskeys. So it's interesting. I mean, there's questions at this point being raised. I think I don't know what those questions are. It was simply by Googling to get an article ready for the show that I noticed there was questions about it. But of course, when something was so predictable, you could bet your house on it, and then it doesn't react in that kind of way. So hopefully they'll come up with something quite interesting from it. I'm trying to think where it was from, because it wasn't from the particle collider in Switzerland. I think it was somewhere else. Here we go. It spins or wobble more than the standard laws of physics say they should. So I'm just trying to find where it was.
That's interesting. I realise now that we've started talking about it, I think we're pronouncing this wrong. So I think this is a muon.
Muon.
Yeah, if I remember back to my A-level physics.
There you go.
And the random physics lectures that I used to sit in instead of my computer science ones. But it's represented by the Greek letter mu.
There we go.
So there you go. That's the
heavier electron. So yeah, I mean, I'm waiting for the next big movement in physics. Like, obviously, quantum physics is still very much an unknown aspect of physics. But if there's another area that we can start to investigate and all the rest of it, I would be totally on board with that. I think physics is my jam.
Well, there are some really interesting. If you start scratching the surface of this, even stuff that you were taught in school, you start to realise that there is a hell of a lot of uncertainty still around stuff that was taught with a surprisingly high level of certainty, if that makes sense. For example, I was watching a brief documentary on YouTube the other day from the Veritasium channel, and they were talking about how we actually don't have a measure for the speed of light. Did you know that?
I've seen this episode, yeah.
It's very good, isn't it? Because essentially you can't measure the speed of light in one direction. You have to measure the speed of light in 2 directions, i.e. bouncing off a mirror. And so you never actually know if light is a constant, because it could be really fast. It could be really slow in one direction and instantaneous in the other. And actually we've got no way of proving that, despite the fact that sounds like a ridiculous concept. And I think it's the same in this. If light does tend to appear as either a wave or a particle, and in this instance, you are able to get things to behave slightly unusually. And I think we've seen a lot of that with the study that's come out of CERN in recent years as well. There is a lot of uncertainty about stuff that we were a little bit more firm on, or at least it appeared that when our school teachers were telling us about it.
And the laboratory that this experiment was conducted on was called Fermilab. So Fermi. There was a pun in there that I thought I would.
You thought there was a pun in there?
There was a pun in there. You said we were pretty firm on, so I was like, well.
I see.
See what I'm saying?
Sorry, we missed that. How many
I
whiskies
think
is that?
everyone missed it. I knew. I like that word Fermilab. So like,
It's good.
is that an English? I don't know where that is. It sounds like it's from England, but I don't think it is.
Fermilab.
No, it's not. It's near Chicago. It's near Chicago.
Yeah.
It's a particle accelerator. So
Illinois.
yeah, there we go. So yeah, I would, if I could go back, if I could start it all again, I'd probably do physics. I was actually looking into it, but I didn't get a good enough grade in my maths at GCSE level. So if I was to do physics, like particle physics or something like that, I would have to go all the way back to GCSE level to get a B or something like that, or an A in maths to then study physics. So
if you could turn back time, that'd be where you'd go.
That's where I'd go. GCSEs. So I could get a better grade of maths.
I think I'd go a little bit ahead of GCSEs. I don't think I could stand to do that again.
Yeah, but I would have to if I wanted to do physics. That's what I'm saying. I would have to.
True. You can probably get into
so
the...
TB... Go on, sorry.
I was going to say you could probably get into the Open University. You should try it.
I don't know. Physics is pretty hard, man. There's probably a reason why you need the baseline of maths in there because, and maths ain't my strong point.
Yeah, I had to have maths so I could get onto my computer science degree. I'm not sure if I would have needed a higher grade to do physics. But I used to the physics and the computer science lecturers or the lectures were in the same building in Liverpool. And so I used to attend some of the physics ones just for entertainment value. Get a bit more out of my degree.
So whilst all your colleagues were sneaking out of lectures and not turning up, you were actually going into more lectures, if I understand that correctly.
Yeah, well, I was never very good at getting out of bed, so I'd miss my computer science lectures in the morning and stock up on some extra physics ones throughout the day.
There you go.
And why not? But anyway,
it's like drive-through physics.
Yeah, exactly. And they were in the same lecture theatre, and some of the physics lecturers were particularly entertaining with their individual quirks.